Hello and welcome to day 16 of the 21-day dating challenge. Today we're going to talk about the power of great questions, and this can certainly not be underestimated when it comes to dating and finding and attracting the men that you truly desire, sis. And I want to welcome you if this is the first time for you joining this channel. If this is the first time that you've seen me, my name's Hannah, and it's a pleasure to absolutely have you here. And we're going to talk about quality icebreakers, sis. Now, a quality icebreaker is a question that you can ask a gentleman where it does a couple of things. Number one is it shows that you're interested in him. Number two, excuse me. Number two, it gives you the information that you require to spark a conversation. And number three, it demonstrates that you have some knowledge about the subject, because for every question that you ask a gentleman, please always be prepared to give him an answer. Now, the task that I'm going to set for you today, sis, is I need for you, yes, you, I could give you a whole list, but there's no value in that really, because it doesn't come from here. It doesn't come from within you. You need to think about what is it that you truly want to know from a man that you want to start engaging and interacting with. But what I will do, sis, is I will give you a couple of my best questions. And the first one is, and I think I may have mentioned this on a previous video, the first one that I often ask men is, can you please rank the following three items for me? And they are chemistry, communication, and character. And literally, I forget all the hi, how are you? How's the weather kind of thing. And I skip all of that and I go straight to my question. And the reason for that is because I just want to know how he thinks. Now, some men will answer the question as chemistry first, followed by communication, followed by character. It actually doesn't matter in the first instance how they answer the question, because there's no wrong or right answer. That's what you need to bear in mind. But what you need to be able to do is to actually be able to answer that question and explain why you have chosen the order in which you have chosen. Because once you've asked him the question, he'll obviously respond. Your next follow-on question must then be, why did you choose communication second? And what that does is it sparks the conversation. And generally, I find that when you ask men why they gave X as the second answer, they will generally explain because it comes before X or it comes before Y, as in it comes before the first one or it comes before the second one. So that I'm sorry. They will generally actually give you a really good answer. And that's what you then use to continue the conversation. Because obviously, if they say chemistry first, you can delve a little bit deeper in terms of, okay, well, why communication second? And that gives you a really good idea as to how they think. Once you've asked that question, you can choose to take it all offline at that point and say, I'd really like to continue this conversation. How about we take it offline? I'm available on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. or I'm available on Thursday at 8:30 p.m. That's one of the ways that you can then immediately take it offline. However, what I've started to do now is actually ask two questions. So that's generally one of my first questions, the one that I've just given you. Another question that I often ask is, what are you looking for in your ideal woman or in an ideal mate? And that is just the really open-ended questions, because you need to focus on open-ended questions. The one I gave you earlier is a sort of closed question. That's because you want to know how they think for those items. But this second question, which can either be your first or your second question, sis, is what are you looking for in a mate? So it's like free-form answer. They can say absolutely anything and everything. And I literally give them a whole paragraph in terms of what I'm looking for when they ask me the question back. But again, it gives you a really good idea as to what he's looking for. Because some men will say, I just want someone to hang out with. And some men will say, I'm looking for a serious relationship. And some men will say, I'm looking for someone who's trusting, who's really nice. And I'm not that too bothered. Seriously, you get a whole range of answers. But once you get the answer, again, there's no right or wrong. It's about what you then do with the answer to that question that matters most. Now, with my two questions, that is generally enough information to decide whether I actually want to take it offline. And in the beginning, when I first started actively dating, I used to take everybody offline because I really wanted to practice those conversation skills. And I would encourage you to do the same thing, because what that will reveal is that some of these men really have nothing to say when you actually get them on a video call. Whereas other men, they will really have great conversations with you and you'll enjoy it. But remember, this is the thing when you're on a video call with that very first video call, sis, maximum 30 minutes, because your whole goal is to identify if they're real, if they're genuine, and also if you really think that this is the kind of person that you want to continue an interaction with and have further conversations with. So just remember that for the very first conversation. So your homework again, sis, compile a list of your top 10 icebreaker questions. And what I would recommend is that you have 5 questions where the guy, first of all, approaches you, and then 5 potentially different questions where you initiate the conversation with him, because the questions will be slightly different. But generally, if I'm initiating conversations, the questions that I've given you are generally the ones that I use, and I will use a variation of them when a guy initiates a conversation with me. So that's it for today, sis. Remember, remain curious, be interesting, and always be intentional. I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.